I want to talk about something that comes up constantly, and I mean constantly. Somebody finds out you have MS, and immediately, and I mean before you've even processed your diagnosis all the way, somebody is telling you, take vitamin D, or take magnesium, or take vitamin B12, or all three, plus something they read about online at 2 in the morning. And listen, I get it. I really do. But I'm going to be honest with you today because I think you deserve that more than you deserve hope. I'm actually a pharmacist. I also have MS. So I'm coming at this from both sides, and that matters. So let's talk about what's actually worth your time and your money and what isn't. Oh, stay with me until the end because I'm actually going to answer the single most asked supplement question I get asked in my practice, the one that comes up more than anything else. You're going to want to hear that, so stick around. This is On My Nerves, MS Unfiltered. What I think is really happening when people start researching supplements after a diagnosis. It's not just about vitamins. It's actually about control. When MS enters your life, so much feels out of your hands. Your treatment plan, your symptoms, how your body is going to behave on any given day. A lot of that isn't up to you. But walking into a store and picking up a bottle, that feels like doing something. That feels like fighting back. And I'm not here to take that away from you, I promise. That instinct makes complete sense. But here's what I will say, and I mean this gently. There's a difference between feeling a real gap in your health and just buying hope in a bottle and learning to tell the difference. That's the whole thing. Let me walk you through the big ones, the ones I get actually asked about the most. Vitamin D. This is the one. If you have MS and you haven't had your vitamin D level checked, go get that checked. That should be step one. Low vitamin D levels and MS have a very consistent relationship. People who live farther away from the equator, who don't get a lot of sun exposure, show up in the MS data more. That connection is not speculation. Now, is supplementing going to reverse your MS or stop your progression? No, I'm not going to tell you that. But keeping your levels in a healthy range, that's not doing nothing. Deficiency isn't helping you, and your neurologist can check this with a simple blood draw. Magnesium. This one comes up a lot around fatigue and sleep and muscle symptoms, which if you have MS, you know these three are already on your radar. Magnesium plays a role in nerve and muscle function, and a lot of people are mildly deficient without even knowing it. There isn't strong specific clinical evidence behind it, but it's generally well tolerated, and it's a reasonable conversation to have with your doctor, especially if you're struggling with cramping or you're not sleeping. Then there are B vitamins, specifically B12. Okay, this one I feel very strongly about. B12 deficiency can actually mimic MS symptoms. I mean, really mimic them. Fatigue, cognitive fog, nerve-related issues. These show up in B12 deficiency the same way they show up in MS activity. So before you assume that what you're experiencing is your MS doing something, please get your B12 checked. Please. Because if it's deficiency, that's fixable. And you deserve to know the difference. Everything else, your alpha lipoic acid, your omega-3s, high-dose biotin, those come up too. Some have early research, some are more speculative, but none of them, and I mean none of them, are a substitute for your disease-modifying therapy if that's part of your treatment plan. I'm not saying don't look into them. I'm saying don't let them replace what's actually working. Okay? Real quick. If this is helpful to you, I want you to subscribe right now because we talk about real stuff on this channel. the things people with MS actually need to hear, not just the things that sound good. And if you know someone who is newly diagnosed or deep in the supplement spiral, share this with them. You could save them so much money and so much time and a lot of confusion. Okay, I have to say this part because I think it matters. The supplement world sells hope, and hope is not a bad thing. I've talked about hope on this podcast, and I believe in it deeply. But there's a version of hope that's actually doing you a disservice. And that's the version that says, if I just find the right combination of supplements, I can get ahead of this disease. I actually did that. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I did this. I was so focused on what I could do that sometimes I wasn't being honest with myself about what was actually working and what was just making me feel like I was doing something. The cleaner question to ask is not, is this curing me? The cleaner question is, what is this specifically supposed to do? And how would I actually know if it's doing it? That's it. That's the reframe. Before you add anything, I want you to run through these questions. Run through these before you add one single thing. Number one, why am I taking this? Is there a real reason, a symptom, a known deficiency, or did I just read about it somewhere and it sounded good? Number two, can I actually test whether I need it? Vitamin D, vitamin B12, magnesium. You can check all of these with blood work. If you don't know your levels, you're guessing. And I don't want you guessing with your health. Number three, does your neurologist know? This one is non-negotiable for me. High-dose biotin, for example, can interfere with certain lab results. Some supplements interact with medications. Your care team needs the full picture. Don't manage this by yourself. Number four, what does working look like for me? Give yourself something specific to look for and a timeline to look for it. Otherwise, you'll take something for 6 months, not knowing if it's doing anything for you, and keep buying it because you don't want to feel like you've wasted money. This is how I actually think about this. Here's my honest framework. Supplements fill gaps. They don't add superpowers. If you are deficient in something, correcting it can genuinely move the needle. That's real. But if your levels are already where they need to be, adding more of something doesn't automatically make things better. And at high doses, some of this stuff can actually cause problems. So, the goal isn't a perfect supplement stack. The goal is giving your body the foundation it needs to function alongside everything else you're managing. Your medication, your sleep, your movement, your stress. Supplements are one small piece of a much bigger picture. And I think sometimes we want one thing that just ties it all together. I understand that. But the honest truth is that it's less dramatic than that. It's a lot of small, consistent decisions over time. And that's okay. That's actually how it works. This is the most asked supplement question I get from my practice. Remember I told you I'd come back to this? Well, here it is. The single most asked supplement question I get, more than vitamin D, more than B12, more than anything else, is this. Can I just take everything? Is it safe to just take all of it together? And my answer is, and always will be, the same. No, please don't do that. Here's why. More is not better when it comes to supplements, especially when you're already on disease-modifying therapy. Some supplements compete with each other for absorption. Some interact with your medication in ways that are not obvious. High-dose, fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin D and A can actually accumulate in your body over time and cause toxicity because they don't just flush out the way water-soluble vitamins do. So, The smarter approach is one thing at a time. Add something, monitor it, know why you added it, give it a real window to show you something, and then decide. That's it. That's the answer I give every single time. Because I want you well, not busy. There's a difference. If you've been in the supplement spiral, I see you. I've been there, and I hope this gave you a little clarity on how to think about it without feeling overwhelmed. If this helped you, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Drop your questions in the comments. Seriously, what have you tried? What are you still unsure about? I want to know, because this is a conversation. This isn't a lecture. So, and if you found this useful, share it. There's somebody in your life right now who needs to hear this. Send it to them. It costs you nothing, and it could mean everything to them. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll see you in the next episode. This is On My Nerves, MS Unfiltered. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. None of this information is intended for diagnostic or treatment purposes.
Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Be well, stay encouraged, and we'll see you in the next episode.